Our scalps must never be ignored. They have been ignored for far too long. Oh my God, what are you doing there? I didn't even realize you were sitting here. Today, we're gonna talk about, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 common hair care mistakes you could be making. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. This is serving Angela Lansbury, Beauty and the Beast, Tale as Old as Time, not having a consultation with your hairdresser. One must have a consultation with a hairdresser, okay? We wanna have a consultation with our hair person to make sure that you're gonna walk out of there happy with your hair. I really like to use pictures when you're like doing a consultation so you can think about like, oh, I want it this long or like this long. And then the hairdresser can be like, oh, well, that person's hair is really curly, like, but we could try something like this. It just gives you like a common frame of reference. So we love pictures for consultations and we love consultations in general. Go Consultations 2022. Okay, I am a little bit guilty, wilty, majilty of this. Like if I was doing clients' hair, I always make sure that their hair is like totally 100% bone dry before we flat iron or curling iron, like every time. My own hair, sometimes I'd be in Atlanta filming Queer Eye or Kansas City in the like height of summer or Atlanta in the height of summer or like Philly in the height of summer or like Texas in the height of summer. And it would be a little bit like super hot outside and I could feel some moistness building up in my root. So I would just like maybe not blow dry that all the way before flat ironing it. And you literally can hear your hair sizzle. It is such a surefire way to like snap your hair off because really your heat protectant and like your products can't work if they're not like dried all the way into the hair. So flat ironing hair that's still a little bit damp or wet or curling ironing it, really not good. It's a real sizzle, crackle, pop. It's not good. So you have to make sure it's all the way dry. So we love a good blow dryer or just making sure that your hair is like fully dry before we iron it. But you guys, like not to turn this into like a product commercial for blowout milk, but look at my hair, YouTube. Have you ever?
We're gonna have to take that monitor away from you.
Not understanding like a product that you bought and how to use it is another big thing. So just like not understanding product use. Even with like our brand, like JVN Hair, like air dry cream is incredible if you wanna have your hair have more texture in it. If you do air dry cream in your hair and it's curly and you wanna blow it straight, it's not gonna work as well. It's not, because really, you know, air dry cream puts texture in your hair. It doesn't help take it out. If you use like a pomade in your hair when it's wet, like a clay pomade, you would wanna use in your hair when it's more dry, typically. There's always a way to break the rules, which is, you know, fine. But kind of like not understanding how to use styling products is a big mistake that I see. Advice that I would give for that is like, look at YouTube channels, look at hairdressers, Instagrams, TikToks. There's so much good content out there about ways to like use beauty products. You can even like type in the name of the beauty product to learn how to, go to websites. We have a lot of that stuff on JVN Hair, so yes, learn, honey. Slicking your ponytails back when they're wet. This is why it's a huge issue. And I don't wanna name names, but I saw do this on her Instagram the other day. And I wanted to slide into her DMs and offer like unsolicited advice. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't wanna be that girl. And like she only follows Karamo on Instagram, like of the 5 of us, and she doesn't follow me. So I don't wanna give her a reason like when it's my blood on the walls, but like you have such great hair. Like we can't be slicking it back while it's wet. This is why, okay? I think in an earlier video, you'll remember when we were talking about hydrogen bonds and sulfur bonds. Hydrogen bonds are what we're dealing with when the hair is like wet and dry, when we're like heat styling the hair. And so those hydrogen bonds, when your hair is wet, they stretch. And then as they dry, they shrink. So if you like stretch your hair when it's wet in a really tight ponytail and you anchor it back here, and that hair is really stretched back wet, as it dries, it's going to kind of shrink and that's gonna cause breakage because the hair can't be that strong to like support that tension. So it's just gonna start to go like boink, boink, boink. So you really do wanna have like, if you want that really wet, slick back look though, what you actually need to do is blow dry your hair all the way. Then you go back with like an air dry cream or a gel or a hairspray or you layer a combination of those things, and that gives you the appearance of a wet look, but it's actually done on dry hair, not on wet hair, and that's the way you can do it in a safe way. Ooh, this is a really good one. If you're trying a brand new hairstyle or like going to the salon for a dramatic change or just like styling your hair at home in a way that you haven't tried before, don't do that in a huge rush. If you go into a salon wanting a big change and you're like, oh, but I gotta leave in 2 hours, don't do that to your stylist. Good hair, especially big changes, can take a hot minute. So just know to clear your schedule. Don't put that pressure on the stylist. And also for you, if you're like styling your hair radically different at home, doing a new style, be prepared that it might not turn out and you might have to like wash your hair and kind of do your normal thing. And then you just don't want to be like rushing and freaking out and like mad that you're late and sweating and like stressed and flustered before your event. So it's just good to like give yourself a little bit more time than you would even think you would need for trying out a new style. Or better yet, I love it when people try out a new style when they have nowhere to go, because then it just totally takes the pressure off and you can just have fun, turn on some music, light a candle, and like just have fun playing with your hair. Another huge hair care / hair color mistake that I see folks making is not understanding how permanent hair color is. If you're using like a semi-permanent, a demi-permanent, or a permanent or bleach, that is going to be in your hair forever. If it lightens your hair or darkens your hair, it's going to change your hair color. The reason that's important is because your hair only grows 1/4 to 1/2 inch a month. If your hair is like, let's find a piece of my hair that goes all the way down to the length. So like this hair on my head right here, this is like probably about like 1 foot long, I would imagine, like from here to here. That's at least like 10 inches. So if my hair only grows 1/4 inch a month, right? And that's 10 inches long, that's 4 months to make an inch. That's a year to make 3 inches, and 10 inches, that's like 3 1/4 years. So like this hair on my head is like old. It's been on my head since like season 3 of Queer Eye. So because the hair grows so slow, if you wanted to like totally grow out the hair color that you do and your hair is like down to your like collarbone, that's like a 3-4 year commitment to completely growing that hair color out. And if you ever wanna like go lighter or just like restore your natural color, that is going to affect what you're able to do with your hair color for years in advance. If you do get a wild hair and you wanna go blonde or even natural, that's gonna be like hundreds of dollars of salon appointments and hours and hours and hours in the salon to undo what you've done. Hair color is fun, it's a way of self-expression, but it also can be very time consuming and very expensive. And sometimes we get really caught up in the moment, we wanna do really big changes, but it's important to think about like how much money you're gonna spend, how much time you're gonna spend maintaining that look, and if that's something you really wanna do. Another big mistake that we make when getting our hair done in the salon is not talking about price before you get that bill. There's nothing more like, is like getting up to the salon and like finishing up and you have this great hair and then you see this bill that takes you totally off guard and you're like, how did it get this expensive? And you don't really want to ask and then you feel weird about it. And then, so it's just important to be clear when you're walking in to this service, into this appointment, it's okay to ask what it's gonna cost up front. Honestly, I feel like your stylist and colorist should talk about it. They should bring it up, but it's okay for you to ask questions. It's just better to always talk about those things before it really gets going on. Our scalps must never be ignored. They have been ignored for far too long, and it is time for us to nourish our scalps, okay? Because honestly, scalps are doing so much. They're under so much pressure to just like perform and be everyone's best friend. And we have to take care of them. I do love our JVN Hair Pre-Wash Scalp Oil, which is this gorgeous oil filled with gorgeous ingredients. Oh my gosh, some magical person just put some right here. This gorgeous pre-wash scalp oil is filled with so many ingredients that are so beneficial for your scalp, hair follicle, and hair shaft. We have our hemisqualane that we always have in everything. It's our fermented sugarcane-based, gorgeous scalp and hair soother. It's like the Scalp and Hair Whisperer, hemisqualane. It's so soothing and also instantly strengthening, but totally weightless and will not make your hair feel like greasy or weird. Then you have turmeric and rosemary extract to clarify and gently exfoliate your scalp. It's gonna make sure that there's no dirt and debris plugging up that hair follicle, so it sets up your scalp for like the best hair growth. Then there's also bisabolol, which that helps your hair to not break. My little story when I was talking about like breaking all my hairline off from flat ironing my hair wet, I literally regrew it with pre-wash scalp oil. The reason that scalp care is so important for overall hair health is that your scalp houses the follicle, the hair follicle, and that's what's responsible for growing your hair. There is space between the hair follicle and then the hair shaft itself that's like, you know, kind of all in like this area. So it's important for us to cleanse and make sure that nothing is getting like shoved down in that little follicle, and also putting a lot of tension. It can like just pull the little hair follicles around your face. So nourishing and calming the scalp is really important. Another big mistake that we find is not understanding how to style your haircut. Once a really nice lady who used to go to the salon that I worked at in Arizona back when I was like a teenager or like early 20s, this lady got her hair cut off. Like she went from having really long hair to like a really short little pixie. And this really good hairstylist did it in our salon, but then that stylist went on vacation. 2 days later, after this woman gets her haircut, she comes in and she's like, I hate this haircut. It's never what I wanted. You have to help me. You have to fix it. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. And she loves her hairstylist. And actually her hairstylist is still a really good friend of mine. But so I took out a brush and I started brushing her haircut because it was really like spiky and short, and like the top was giving like just really spiky, but it was meant to be, you know, more brushed forward and to the side, kind of like a little twiggy pixie cut. Like it wasn't meant to be styled up and spiky. It was meant to be styled like down and more smooth and just more like pixie, like a little bit of texture down, but not like Kate Gosselin, like in like 2006. So I just started to brush her hair, put a little bit of water in her hair, and I just kind of like switched the way it was styled. I didn't even touch scissors to it. And she was like, oh my God, I love it. It's not a bad haircut. She didn't mess it up. I just didn't know how to style my hair. And so a lot of times when we think that, now, also there are messed up haircuts, and there are 100% messed up haircuts. So I'm not saying that this is all the time, but a lot of times we just don't know how to style our new cut or didn't really understand what the vision was that the stylist had. So it is okay to ask questions. And I actually think it's really important to ask questions. So when you're done, even if you've been there for like an hour and 20 minutes and you're trying to leave after that haircut, ask questions about like how you could style that hair at home so that again, you can get your money's worth, honey, because it's a collaboration that makes the best hair. Because really like your haircut, your hairstyle, your hair color, that is art, and it's collaborative art because you're working with someone else to achieve that. So ask questions and find someone who you enjoy spending time with, and that's gonna help you unlock your best hair yet. Thank you for coming, YouTube. I hope you're gonna just stop making these mistakes. I'm just kidding, I love y'all so much. And it's beauty, hair care. It's a lot to navigate out here, and I'm just trying to help you out. I love you so much. Thanks for coming to our YouTube channel. We hope you're loving it. If you like it, honey, tell a friend to subscribe. Like put it on your Twitter, put it on your like Insta stories or something. Like tell the folks that we are out here doing YouTubes every week, having so much fun. Flip the table. I love you. Bye.